Hello, 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 good people. Hello, good people. I am Dr. Hollie Kelly, and this is Dr. Kelly's Perspective for Monday, July 30th. July 30th, we're going to be at a new month here in a millisecond. So, I've entitled this perspective, No More Little Ponds. Hey, Ty and Donnie. No more little ponds. And by that, I mean, for those of us who want to do more, who know that there is more, you know that this can't be it, that you were designed to do more, to impact lives, to fill in the blank with whatever your more looks like. Those are the folks I'm talking to. For you this morning, hey, Pat, we have to make sure that we're not being the big fish in the little pond. We have to make sure that that is not our reality, because that can trick us. If we remain the big fish, got it going on, you're at the top of your game, you bring an A game wherever you go, but the pond has been small and remains small, that's enough for, you got to make sure that you're breaking out of that pond. This is where this comes from. This past weekend, my daughter and I went up into LA, North Hollywood, to see a phenomenal musical biography, is what I'm calling it. This young man, Brandon's only maybe 25, 26, and I've known him for probably since ninth grade, since he was in ninth grade. He is living into what he always talked about. He always talked about dancing and choreography, and he didn't just talk about it. He's doing it. He's living it. He put on his own second production in a theater in Hollywood. He's done Broadway. He's in New York City. He's doing he's in another musical right now. He's traveled with his music to Canada and to Japan, and he's just doing it, and he's 25 years old. And so as I was watching this show and being moved by it, a couple of things stuck out to me. And my daughter always says, "Mommy, everything doesn't have to be a lesson." Well, it sort of is for me. So here's what I got from that. Hey, Sister Ron. Hey, Mother. Here's what I got from this. 3 things will lend itself toward excellence and becoming the best version of who you are. Excellence, consistency, and an armored protection against rejection. So the first one is where there's no more little ponds. Over and over again, we have to recognize that the marketplace does not pay for average, period. You have to develop excellence in whatever it is that you're doing. And so Brandon is naturally gifted. Thank you for all who are joining me on both platforms. He is naturally gifted with dance. He can hear it and he can just compose it. And more than that, choreography and how things should be put together. That's his gift. Now you replace that for whatever the gifts that God has given you. We all have natural gifts. There's a pool of natural gifts and talents and strength that we've been given. But he didn't stop there. He built on the giftings that God gave him. He put himself in situations that mandated a challenge and a stress. He got with people who were better than him. He applied for positions that would pull on his gifts, would stretch him and make him better. In other words, he got out of his comfort zone and he made sure not to stay the big fish in the little pond, because that's too easy. When everybody's telling you, "Oh, you the man, you got it going on, look at you, wow, look at you, girl," that can become intoxicating, and we can get drunk in all of that. We can get drunk in that. The real test is, will you push, will you stretch, will you demand more of yourself and force yourself to go to another level? Will you mandate that you get out of the little pond into a bigger arena that that calls for more excellence, that calls for you to be challenged, getting out of your comfort zone. He forced himself to do that. He refused to remain the big man in the little pond. And I'm telling you, what I'm picking up the entire time his production was going on, I'm looking, I'm learning, I'm like, wow. Another thing that lent itself toward his excellence, he bet on himself. He bet on himself time and time and time again, meaning he not only put the time in, he not only put the sweat, blood, and tears, and I've seen all three. Oh my goodness, couldn't think of it, I've seen all three. As an example, this young man broke his nose during a performance, a dance performance, literally broke his nose, and until, if you knew him, you saw something for a split second was off, did not stop the dance, didn't stop the dance. So he bets on himself and puts the time in. He puts the investment in. You're talking about booking a theater in North Hollywood. I don't know if he broke even or made it, but he bet on himself, managed himself, gathered the very best around him, and he put the time in, put the investment, the financial investment that it takes to put on a production. And then he's back in New York the very next day, getting ready to go out, and he's booked for another cruise. So my point is, if we want life to be all this and wow, all that, we have to pay the cost. I'm learning this live and in color as I watch this production. He put the time in to make sure that he could not, did not, would not remain the big fish in the little pond. He stretched his pond to overseas venues. He stretched his pond to New York City that will eat you up and chew you, eat you up and spit you out like nothing, which leads me to my second and last 2 points: consistency. And more than that, he has built an armor of protection against rejection. And too many of us are walking around still thin-skinned. We're too thin-skinned that we don't, the first rejection, the first obstacle, the first no, the first you're not good enough, the first who do you think you are? Who do you think you are? You've been here how long, and you're trying to do what? The first time we run up against a roadblock or a barrage of animosity against us, that's enough to make us, where's the white flag? Let me surrender. And for all of us who know, we don't know it just intellectually. We know it in our gut, in our heart, that we should be doing more. We can have more. You deserve more. I want more. Even if initially you can't define what the more looks like, but you got that rumble inside, you're going to have to develop an armored protection against rejection, because it's going to come. It will come, and it is on purpose. It is coming with a purpose to try to knock you down, to try to defeat you, to try to find out if you're worthy of this. Because I promise you, if you tuck your tail and run after a couple of no's, after a couple of rejections, you would not be able to handle the more. You wouldn't be ready for it, could not handle it. And so I could have labeled this lessons from a 25-year-old, because we need to be on the lookout all the time for how we can do that. When you see someone operating in excellence, when you see others living their dream well past the just talking the good game, we need to ask some questions. We need to examine their lives, examine their path long enough to figure out, how in the world did he do that? Excellence, consistency, and armored protection against rejection is what I got from this weekend's phenomenal showing by Mr. Brandon Burks. Okay, that is my offering to you today. My challenge is to please, if you are getting comfortable with being the man, the woman, make sure you're not the man in a little pond. the woman in a small pond. If you are, it's time to move. It's time to jump out, get into a bigger arena, and continue to grow your excellence. Okay, that is my challenge to you. That is my, no hablo español, un poquito solamente. That is my challenge. That is my offering to you today. Until next time, take real good care of yourselves.